For task A, you are given 1 minute to prepare. Individual presentation, you are given 2 minutes each to talk. Start with candidate A.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning to my examiners and friends. Based on the situation given is advance in science and technology take place very fast. One of the best way for Malaysia to advance in science is to send people abroad to be trained. Based on my experience, my opinion is make a strategic decisions to send students to overseas for further education each year. This is because many universities and research laboratories under the prestigious have failed to attract back any young researchers who went abroad to earn a foreign PhD. It is important, which had already lost one generation of scientists due to the cultural revolutions, was devastated by the loss of some of the country's most valuable professionals. However, market liberalizations increased most valuable professionals. Privatizations bringing significant benefits to the country. Take for example, all graduate students had success in their studies and can get their job directly. My next point is foreign PhD are still more valued and rewarded the domestic one, generating hostility between the two groups. Therefore, the belief persists that the road to success lies in overseas study course of science. As a conclusion, I suggest that government must help our generations to abroad to be training and sending them to the overseas.
Proceed to candidate B.
Good morning to the examiners and fellow candidates. The situation states that advance in science and technology take place very fast. I think Malaysia should invite brilliant scientists from overseas to work in our country. In my opinion, by inviting them, Malaysia can advance in science and Malaysia can also learn or cooperate with the brilliant scientists to create new technologies. My main idea is I want Malaysia to be more advanced in technology. This means that Malaysia will require employees to advance the existing and new technologies indirectly. This will increase employment opportunities among Malaysians. For example, the vacancy as a laboratory assistant. This would reduce the unemployment rate in Malaysia and will be able to increase the national income because it has sophisticated technology. Therefore, we must together improve the technology in our country. In a nutshell, we must develop the technology of our country to be on par with other countries that have been built in the area of technology such as Japan, Korea and China. That's all for me today.
Proceed to candidate C.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to to the examiners and fellow candidates. Based on the situation given, advance in science and technology take place very fast. One best way to set up research program for young scientists. In my opinion, we must bring the young scientist ambassador program. It is important to the ambassadorship may involve one young scientist hosting another, but may also involve just one young scientist serving as either the guest or host, as long as the non-traditional criterion is met. This means that a young scientist will operate with the title of young scientist ambassadors. For example, it could include one limited to those with primary and secondary school teachers and students, university scientists, as well as researchers at national labs companies and governmental institutions. Next, I would like to highlight governance implementation. So we can see that governance will be set up amongst the 2010 young scientists to coordinate and administer this program. As a conclusion, I suggest that website will be developed to disseminate information about the program.
Proceed to candidate B.
Assalamualaikum and good morning and to the examiners and all my friends. The situation states that the advance in science and technology take place very fast. In my opinion, the best way to make students do science project is teachers should prepare an attractive and valuable prizes. It is important to attract students to taking part on doing this science project. On top of that, students will be thinking of completing a task or problem faces regularly, as they did in a science project. For example, the project provided by the teachers, the student will be collaborate with each other to solve certain tasks properly and systematically. Therefore, we be able to see the students show their interest in science. In conclusion, teacher must take serious steps in order to ensure that students make this science project as something interesting and do not think that science as something boring. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you for the all candidates. For task B, you are given 2 minutes to prepare. For task B, you have 10 minutes for group discussion. Candidate A, you may start now.
Assalamualaikum and good morning once again to everyone. We are here to focus on the issue at hand, which is to invite a brilliant scientist to work in our country. I would like to invite anyone of you to kickstart these discussions by giving us your point of view. Based on situation, for my humble opinion, the best way for Malaysia, in order to advance in science and technology, we should invite brilliant scientists to work in our country. This is important for us as for now because we can focus in electronics, robotics and automotive industry. For an example, Japan is one of the leading scientific research worldwide. When we invite scientists from Japan, they can deliver and convey the technical knowledge in automotive industry, for example, Toyota, Honda, Mitsubishi and many more. As for electronics industry is Panasonic, Canon and Sony. Not only that, we can implement the technology given by brilliant scientists. Our country will gain more money, so we have income that can support our local industry and survive. By invite brilliant scientists to work in our country, can improve our income by our country. We can support our local industry to survive. In order for us to enhance our scientist technology, we can train our students by inviting brilliant scientists in our country. So everyone part of the country must participate to make sure our country will standing together with the other leading manufacturer in produce material in automotive and electronics industry in future. That's all for me. Thank you.
I agree with candidate A because by doing this we do not have to send the students abroad. The students to abroad. They also can reduce their expenses. Besides that, in my view, by inviting brilliant scientists to work in our country also advance Malaysia in science. In addition, Malaysians can learn from scientists from abroad who work in Malaysia without having to go to the abroad. We also can export our new technologies to other countries, and this will improve our country's income. That's all.
Yes, I agree with you, candidate B, because we can do a program to invite brilliant scientists to work in our country. If we make brilliant scientists, we interested about our country project. So to set up such programs for young scientists, we must support their about goodness to be a young scientist. So they will want to be a success scientist in future. That's all for me.
I also agree with candidate A suggestion about inviting brilliant scientists to work in our country as the best way. My opinion is, by inviting brilliant scientists to work in our country, our government should take part by providing lucrative and attractive deals. Furthermore, our government also should give salaries that are lucrative and in their own skill. This way we will attract more scientists to work in our country. By this way, it also can improve our industry in science and technology as industry, automobile, factories and others. That's all for me. I hope you are agree with my statement. Thank you.
Okay. I see your point, but how about getting send people abroad to be trained?
I disagree with candidate B because they need to spend a lot of money when they are abroad. So to overcome this problem, we should invite the brilliant scientists to work in our country. So the students should not go to abroad. In my opinion, teachers also should educate students so that they interest to make science project. When the students do science project, they will interest about science and technology. That's all.
To make a student do science project too, you can also do something else, like watching in YouTube about what scientists study with what they wondering. That's all for me.
I don't agree with you because by making students do science projects, we spend a lot of money. It is because we can invest money from our country because we should invite brilliant scientists to work in our country.
I agree with candidate B's suggestion that make students do science project is the best way. My opinion, teachers should prepare an attractive and valuable prizes for students to attract students to this science project. It is important to attract students to taking part doing this science project. On top of that, students will be more thinking of completing a task or problem faced regularly as they did in science project. For example, the project provided by teachers, the student will be collaborate with each other to solve certain tasks properly systematically. Therefore, we will be able to see students show their interest in science. In conclusion, make students do science project is the best way for Malaysia to advance in science. That's all for me. Thank you.
By sending the student abroad, they need to spend a lot of money when doing science project in school. Some of them have talent about science and technologies, but they cannot afford to go to abroad to learn about science and technologies to make them be a scientist, a young scientist. That's all.
I agree with Dato about creative with their own I agree with their own young scientists because we need some new project from young scientists, so it will make our country will be more improved in our future to be improved in our 2020.
Now you can make your conclusion.
We can conclude that in for us to enhance our science and technology, we can train our students by inviting brilliant scientists in our country. So every part of the country must participate to make sure our country will stand together with other leading manufacturing in produce material in automotive and electronics industry in future.
Thank you for all candidates.